Germany is on a military mission of its own to recruit tens of thousands of troops in the face of the threat posed by Russia, and is calling on young Germans to fill those vacancies. The German cabinet has approved a draft plan for voluntary military service, which hopes to boost troop numbers by 80,000. That's to a total of 260,000 over the coming years. The plan, which still needs parliamentary approval, involves sending all 18-year-olds an online questionnaire asking if they are willing to volunteer for military service. Men will be required to complete the form, women won't. After that, the army would invite suitable candidates for basic training. While the plan is voluntary at this stage, the government isn't ruling out compulsory conscription if not enough people sign up. Well, Germany's Defence Minister Boris Pistorius says the plan marks a significant shift.
This is a real step forward, a giant step forward, because it clearly shows that we need to increase the size of our army sooner rather than later. However, this must be a long-term project and must be sustainable. It is also important to change the mindset in society, especially among younger men and women, and to promote responsibility for this service to the country.
Well, let's discuss this further with Jakob Blasel, who's here with me. He's head of Germany's Young Greens, and joining us from just north of Munich is Michael Bayer. He's chairman of the Defence Commission in the youth organisation of Germany's Conservatives. So welcome both, and let's start with your initial thoughts on this idea. Let's start with you, Jakob. What do we think of this idea?
So I think, first of all, it's not entirely voluntary. You just said it, and there's a backdoor to make it compulsory, and I think that's a no-go for us.
Let's take it step by step.
Yeah.
Initially, it would be voluntary, wouldn't it? They would send out the form, and you would indicate yes or no. Maybe at some stage in the future, it might become compulsory, but this first stage would be voluntary.
Yeah, but even talking about that is not fine for us. I don't think there should be any compulsory military service and at this stage. And additionally to that, this form and asking people to give out a lot of personal health information and so on should also not be mandatory in a broader sense. Like, I think it's fine to ask young people to think about it and to say yes or no, I want to give out my information and I might be available for military duty. I think that's fine. But what's not fine for me is to ask all these personal informations from young people, even if they don't want to serve. So I think the first question should be, are you willing to serve, yes or no? And if the answer is no, then you should not have to fill out that form.
OK. And so the idea in principle, though, of trying to get young people into Germany's armed forces initially on a voluntary basis, where are you on that?
Like, on a voluntary basis, I get that. Like, I get the fear of what's going on in Ukraine and what Putin is threatening us, and I see that we also need to put effort in the military, but defense and civil resilience is way more than just arms. Like, it's also civil society, it's resilience and democracy, it's like equipping health workers and equipping catastrophe response.
So it should be about more than just the army.
It's a broader question.
OK, all right. Let's put the same question to Michael Bayer, chairman of the Defence Commission in the youth organisation of Germany's Greens. What do you think of this idea, Michael?
We as Junge Union and myself, we think that this is a first step in the right direction, but long term it's not enough. I mean, which alternative do we have regarding the situation we got in Europe to our flight from Berlin? A war is going on since February 2022, and the Crimea was annexed 2014 even. So we need to respond to it. We need to respond to it quickly, and this is also about giving a signal not just to the Kremlin but also to the US how far are we able or are we willing to go to stabilize the European pillar of NATO defense capabilities as Germany.
That's interesting. So you think this doesn't go far enough. Let me just correct myself. I said you were from Germany's Greens. Of course, you're from Germany's Conservatives. What more, then, do you think the German government should do at this initial stage?
Like I said, this initial stage at the moment is fine, but in the long term, it's just not good enough, because it strengthens the voluntary branch of military service, but it doesn't strengthen the mandatory branch. So, and as Jakob said, we need, or as you said in the introduction, we need much more personnel, because it's just not about material. If we are able to scale up the material, then we also need the personnel that is able to serve the material. So, like I said, it's a first step in the right direction.
Okay.
But I'm not that optimistic as Minister Pistorius is regarding the voluntary branch of it.
Can I just show you I want you both to take a look at the results of a recent survey which found that young people mostly disapprove of compulsory service, military or otherwise. There it is. What is it? 38% approve, 55% disapprove, 7% don't know. Let's start with you on this, Jakob. Why do you think there is such high disapproval amongst young people on the notion of military service?
Because I think there's a pattern of, if there's a really big crisis and the really big issues like the threat of war or like the corona crisis, like there's a pattern of making young people responsible for it, and first of all making young people responsible for that. Like at the corona time, we stayed inside to protect the elderly, and now people are, and after that, nobody asked how to pay back the young generation, how to give us back our youth. And right now, it's again, we are in the threat of war, and the first question people are asking is, how can we make young people responsible for that? And young people are not willing to save the world just by their own. I think it's a responsibility by the whole society, and it's again young people only getting held responsible for that, and I think that's just not fair.
Michael Bayer, why do you think the majority of young people don't like the idea of military service, of compulsory military service?
That's the point, Mr. Pistorius. Yeah, that's the point Mr. Pistorius said in the introduction with this mindset change. I guess we have done pretty much to have financial measures now in a big way, but this doesn't help when we are not able to get this mindset change through the youth as a whole. Because in my opinion, in our opinion, giving back to a country is not really a difficult thing to do. You know, we live, thank God, in a democracy. We live in a free country, and this is also about responsibilities and not just being able to harvest the fruits of democracy. And I think, and we think, that giving back a certain amount of time for all this freedom is a reasonable thing to do. And let me point that clear: without security, nothing is even certain. So freedom is nothing without security. And the thing is, the man in the Kremlin just doesn't stop, and he kind of fuels himself from weakness. And this is what he does since many years. This is why he let drones fly into Poland recently. So if we aren't able to defend ourselves and to deter and to show strength to the man in the Kremlin.
Okay,
and also, like I said, to give the signal to Mr. Trump, then it's getting even more difficult for us.
Jakob, if I understand you, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but if I understand you correctly, you're not philosophically against the notion of military service. You just think there are more and other options in terms of this concept of giving back, as Michael was just saying.
Yes, that point, but I'm also asking society, when are young people getting something back? Like we suffered a lot through the corona crisis, and now we need to serve again. And when are we getting something back? So I think that's a matter of justice. And beyond that, I think military service is important, but there are other ways to serve society.
Okay.
And there are other threats than just the threat of Putin.
Can I just finish by just asking you each the same question? This plan from the German government talks about sending these questionnaires out to young men, not to women. Jakob, we'll start with you. Should women young women be involved in this as well?
No, because I don't think young men should be involved in this either. There should be no compulsory form.
That's clear. Michael Bayer, what do you think? Should women be involved in this?
In general, I'm pretty open to that thought, I must say, because like more rights mean also more responsibilities, you know. And on the other hand, and that is also part of the truth, I mean, Jakob knows the situation in the German Bundestag, the seats as well. We got the situation that we need a 2/3 majority to change laws in our Grundgesetz. And in that composition, we got it, which we got now in the Bundestag. This likely won't happen. So a first step would be to reactivate the form of the Wehrpflicht, which we inactivated in 2011. So this could be the first step.
There'd be a whole process to go
time will
through.
tell.
All right. Thank you both for joining us. Michael Bayer from Germany's, the youth organisation of Germany's Conservatives, and Jakob Blasel, head of Germany's Young Greens. Thank you both.
Thanks.